A premium account is required. What does that mean? For X. Maybe I'm disconnected.
Maybe they changed the Twitter thing.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Just remove it from it. Doesn't matter.
I'm going to save. I'm going to add.
They keep changing stuff on that, so it doesn't matter. Nobody watches
Well,
the show.
it doesn't matter. Okay, we're just going to remove it. Well, thank you so much for those of you that are here. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Yes.
I wasn't ready. I thought you were still trying to connect.
X would not connect. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. It doesn't even.
We don't need that stupid X.
We don't need X. That's a dumb name. Welcome to the show. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. You can go find us on X. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Hive.
Blue skies shining on me. The biscuits out of the sea.
All right. Are you ready to talk about some movies?
I'm singing.
Okay,
now I'm done.
Excuse me.
I guess. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay.
Oops, we're late to the show today because I didn't think we were doing the show because someone was in the hospital today.
I was. Look, I have a fancy band. I need to take that off, don't I? It's like stuck to me. But at least they spelled my name right.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, you mean my name?
Our name. And then at one point, multiple people come and ask you who you are, what's your date of birth, which is good because they got to make sure you're you.
Yeah.
At one point, I'm like, Drusilla Blakey. He's like, Priscilla Lakey. I'm like, oh my God, do I sound dumb right now? But I think it's because I had that dry mouth thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, Drusilla
was it during the
with
morphine?
a D. No, this was before the morphine. So I think I had just dry mouth. Anyway, I have a kidney stone. It's not pleasant. I would not recommend.
It was a day, let me tell you.
Anyways.
So we'll go ahead and do the show.
We're going to do a quick one.
Somebody stubborn wanted to get the show done anyway.
I want to get it because there's some good stuff to talk about.
For all three people that pay attention.
Stuff. Thank you. So let's talk about one that's like, This is the movie Challengers with Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Feist.
I slept through a lot of this movie, not because the movie was necessarily bad or boring.
But you woke up early.
I was up early.
And had to deal with it.
And then I was running. I've been on the move all day long because of this one, and I had the granddaughter and everything all at once.
There was a lot happening.
My mom's in the hospital too, so everything was happening at the same time. So I dozed off, but I did watch the majority of the movie.
It's interesting because it has some pretty good high ratings and popularity, and it's rare that you see some reviews that are like, meh. Guys, I'm going to be one of the meh people. I am sorry. This movie, to me, was just not that great. Neither of these three characters has any redeemable qualities and any reason why I like any. Like, I don't like any of them. They're all horrible people.
My issue was this movie was I didn't have that issue, although I didn't understand why she would be attracted to any of them. All I could be thinking about is why is Tom Holland's going to be jealous. But no, I think my issue more than anything with the movie, I thought it was a fine movie for what it was, but it's not the movie they advertised.
Correct.
The movie, if you ever saw the trailers, the movie's very much felt like a very love triangle, sexually driven, kind of erotic story. And unless I just slept through the entire element of that story, that's not really there. I mean, I guess it's there.
No.
In a very minimal.
Like for 1 minute.
That's what I'm saying. It's about this much. So the trailer makes you think.
Yeah, you think it's going to be like high intense drama and lots of tennis drama.
Well, I didn't even expect most tennis drama. I thought it was going to be really, not that I wanted this, but I thought it was going to be very sexually heavy of like, there was going to be that whole relationship. I know this stuff is there, but there was going to be this relationship, and because the trailer lets you believe that they have this love triangle and this threesome and all this stuff that happens, and then you can see that she leans one side more than the other, and it feels like it's going to be this whole fight over her and betrayal, and it's really more about like her not letting go of the game, or her obsession with the game, and these two guys kind of their path on their friendship.
Yeah. I like some of the comments. It's like, Challengers was challenging to watch. What a bore. Not a grand slam. The only good thing about this movie is her.
Yeah.
She's good.
She's really good in the
movie.
But
her character is not redeemable, not likable. Neither are the other two. And it's all a competitive thing in tennis and in the love life triangle thing, which it's not even that much triangle to me. I don't know. It was so long. I felt like I kept waiting
Yeah.
for it to be over, and it was never over, and I just didn't get it. I was not like some of the reviews are like captivating. I was not captivated. I am so sorry.
Like some of the tennis stuff was kind of cool the way they shot it.
That was fun.
Like there's even a moment where you're on the tennis ball.
You get to see the angle. It's
well,
like
no, but you're
playing,
like the actual tennis ball flying back and forth.
It's like you're playing the Wii Sports, and I'm playing tennis again. But okay, some of y'all might be too young to remember Wii Sports, but
wow.
Too
young to remember Wii Sport. Right, you remember the Wii.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a fine movie. I just didn't. I was not.
It to me also. I think the
like
ending.
Yeah.
Leaves you very unfulfilled because
for sure.
I know what they were saying.
You get to decide the ending.
I know what it was trying to say in the message.
Yeah.
But you want to know, like, there's a whole competition. You never know who wins.
Thank you for agreeing with Drew. Thanks.
You never know who wins. It's very much like.
It's just.
It has the exclamation point to the story of the characters, but not the story that they're sucking you into.
Right. Well, then if you go work, there's a whole essay online on, okay, let's assume what's his name did this. Let's assume what's his name. Let's assume Zendaya does this at the ending. There's a whole thing because the ending is unclear, and I guess you get to decide.
And I'm typically okay with.
Yeah, typically that's fine.
Excuse me.
But
I'm typically okay with movies that make you kind of leave it to your own mentality of where it went. But this one didn't. It built up so much stuff that it didn't give you that answer.
It was unfulfilling.
So.
Anyways, sorry.
It also, I will admit too, this also was a movie that I looked forward to it because I like her, but I wasn't rushed out to see this movie in the first thing. But yeah, she is fantastic in the movie. Some of the visuals are in it are good. The tennis stuff, the way they shot it's really well done. But beyond that, it's just kind of I agree with you.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
All right.
I don't want to bash anything. The filmography was good. The tennis matches, she's good. There you go. There's the good things in the movie.
It is what it is.
Okay, next. I was so scared to watch the movie Tarot.
On purpose?
I avoided going to see it in the theater, and now it's on the video, I believe.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
So this is basically every other movie like this you've ever seen where a bunch of kids are doing something they ain't supposed to be doing.
Like the Ouija movies.
They get into something they're not supposed to be getting into, and then shenanigans happen.
Yeah.
This isn't a great movie, but I will say I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Mostly thanks to some of the creature stuff, ghost type of. So I'm hit and miss with this genre anyway, of the haunting, horror, possession element in the horror genre, because a lot of times they're just so redundant. It's the same crap. It's the same story. They just don't do a lot of creativity with it.
But there are instances where a haunted item can be done well, like
The Conjuring, Insidious, The Exorcist. Some of these old movies like this, and some of the newer ones, there are great ones. Don't get me wrong. And if they're good, I get sucked right in.
If you're gonna see Ouija 2, not the first one.
Ouija. But like this one's one of those it wasn't bad.
It started off really strong.
I went into this movie fully expecting to hate it, think it's stupid, think it's boring, because a lot of times when these out of nowhere horror type element films come out, most of them they're trash. You know, there may be some fun to them, but they're really usually not great. They're cheesy. You could tell that somebody just greenlit this, but it'd also be the same movie could come out on video and never get a theatrical release. That's kind of what I expected from this. I think where it elevates is like I said, the creature, demons, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, those were cool.
They're really well done.
That was some
they're
great
creepy,
makeup and special effects.
The visuals are really cool.
And then that one contortionist thing that does kind of a full thing and then flips at the last minute. Yeah. That was really cool.
I think the visuals to the movie is really cool.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's gritty. It kind of pulls you into these different kinds of worlds. Like I love the carnival one, which was kind of cool. It has some fun kills in it.
Yeah, it has some good kills.
My biggest issue, I think, with this movie, outside of the just generic cliche element of it, is, and this isn't at fault of this movie. This is something they do in a lot of movies, is where there's always a person that's there that just happens to be somebody that does the thing they find.
Right.
Like, how many times we've been in something and you find something and nobody knows how to use it?
Right.
That's the norm.
Right.
So, like this case, it's this group of friends. They find the tarot cards. Oh, and this one girl happens to read tarot cards.
Right.
And I'm like, it's kind of like watching American Ninja, and the bad guys are all ninjas. They just happen to be a ninja.
I want to be ninja.
Yeah. Or no, let me flip that. ninjas attack, and there's one American soldier that happens to be a ninja.
It's like,
It's that stuff.
I did kung fu training as part of my military or whatever.
Yeah,
which is
so
fine.
it's
That was that guy that told you that recently.
which one?
That he's in the military, so he knows how to do karate or something.
Oh no, he told us he was in the military and he learned to fight. He said they taught us martial arts too, just enough to get beat up in a bar.
Oh, okay, that's funny then. Anyways, overall, it's a fine movie. It's perfectly fine. I think it highlights some of the things we've always talked about, that if you were giving a weird prophecy or prophetic message or whatever, if you listen and you follow the rules, you can survive.
Yeah.
It's the people when it's like you always run away from your problems, and then the thing comes and you start running. Hello, don't run. But it's your instinct. So
Yeah.
that was fine. I liked the use of the cards itself, were kind of cool. I liked the aspect of how they were possessed and all that. All that was fine. And all of the special effects and the makeup, that was the best part.
The entire movie had the chance to be fantastic.
Yes.
But it leaned too much into the cliche, into the typical tropes of the horror genre.
What's the rating on this movie? That's maybe the issue.
This one might have been an R because there was some blood in it.
They should have gone
but I don't know.
it.
But the problem with a lot of these horror films is they stay so safe where they just go by the
PG-13.
Oh, well,
that's the problem with this movie.
But they also go so far to say, okay, here's it's like they have a guidebook of how to make a horror film, and they stay to it. And if you overlook and you look at the pattern, which I don't know why people haven't noticed this, the movies that tend to be better and stick with it and create franchises and do really awesome are the ones that step out of that. But when you do that same one, you end up having a Night Swim, a Tarot, Ouija, all these different movies that are the same freaking movie, just with a different thing.
A different element of possession, but same thing. And then, you always have the same group of friends, and the black guy has to die, and the people that had sex have to die. I mean, it's totally by the book.
Like we watched the movie that we'll talk about later on. I'm not even going to tell you the name of it because we'll talk about it later. But it very much, excuse me, the one you just watched online that I did the interview for, it very much leans into the stereotypical tropes, but you can see it's doing it on purpose to kind of use that as a story element.
It's misleading.
Because I did interview the director, and I asked him, and he goes, "Oh no, I very much on purpose wanted to lead into those generic tropes of the stoner, the pretty girl, the innocent one, so that it can shake your brain up when we start revealing things and doing different things." So it wasn't a perfect film either, but it at least recognized I'm trying to do this, as opposed to, and in the defense of the people that make these movies, a lot of times, more often than not, it's a director that's just hired to make this script, so they don't have any real. A lot of them don't have any real.
There was no passion to it.
Passion or involvement in changing things. They're just a hired gun. I don't know if that's the case with this movie.
In the end, this movie's fine. I wish it would have gone a little bit more. It wasn't as scary as I thought. I've been nervous about it, and it wasn't even scary. So I was just like, meh. That's too bad.
I wasn't nervous about it, and it was a better movie than what I expected to get, but still the movie I figured it was.
I think tarot's real. And then our friend is like, I have tarot cards I can do read. I'm like, yeah, no, never in my life will you do that, or we will not.
I'm gonna wait till you're not here, and we'll have him come over. And
I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna come home one day. I'm gonna have that and a Ouija board all set up.
No, it won't work. And we have stuff on the front door that these things can't get in. No,
sure they can when you call them in.
No, don't be dumb. It's gonna follow you forever.
I'm gonna get my cube is right here.
No, I just started watching that movie again. I really like it. The new one.
How is it?
Yeah, but the new one that came out.
With the girl
on the line.
Yeah,
I like her. I just like that movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, check out the movie Tarot. It's on the Blu-ray or on the line? It's
it's on Blu.
Okay.
Blu-ray and DVD and digital now. Sorry.
All right. Changing complete direction. This is the new movie Space Cadet. Super cute. It is streaming now on Prime Video.
Wow, that took a turn from what you had said about when you first started watching it. When she told me she started watching, that was a different conversation.
Was it? And it stars Emma Roberts. You know what? I was like, this is going to be a dumb, silly movie. And you know what? It is. And I just you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this movie for what it is. This is a total, get your friends together, grab some popcorn and some drinks, and just sit back and laugh. It is not groundbreaking. No one's going to win an award for this. It is cheesy, it is campy, it's silly, and I really did like it at the end.
Is it very much like what I expected, that it's kind of in the vein of something like a Legally Blonde or something like that, where it's the girl that doesn't really fit in the job she's going to get, but gets it and excels at it. And
Yes.
all that
Pretty
same
much.
crap.
Pretty much the same thing. It's a little female empowerment, but it's fine.
Gotcha.
It's cute, and there's a love story somewhere in there, but it's not about. I like that it's not a romantic comedy. It is a comedy straight out with her and her friends and building a group of friends, and a romance kind of happens in the end, but it's not even what it's about. I really, really liked it, and I liked seeing Gabrielle Union in this, which I do not often say.
You don't like Gabrielle Union.
I'm not a super fan, but she was actually really fun and just lighthearted in this. I really like seeing her this way. So
I think the only other thing you liked her in is Bad Boys.
I like her in the cheerleader.
Well, yeah, Bring It On movie.
Bring It On.
But that was before you knew that you didn't like her.
Yeah.
That was still new.
Yeah.
Gabrielle Union.
I know. But anyways, I thought it was a super, super cute little film. I mean, if you're just looking for something easy breezy to watch and just kind of chillax and enjoy, I would recommend. I would actually watch it again.
What's it about? You didn't tell us anything.
Oh, well, you already kind of told everybody.
No, I told you, but I don't know. I didn't watch this movie. I just said what I thought it sounded like.
So Emma Roberts, she plays this character called Rex, and she's just like, I'm a Florida girl. That's what her license plate's, Florida girl. She's just working at a bar, living her best life in Florida.
Right.
Her dream, though, is to be an astronaut at NASA. She did at one point have a full ride to become an industrial engineer or whatever. But unfortunately, her mom got sick with cancer, so she never went to school.
That's how it happens. It's always mom's fault.
So she's like, you know what? I'm going to apply to space camp anyway, see how it goes. And she asks her friend to review her resume for just add some clip art to make it really nice. This girl entirely rewrites the whole thing and sends it in, and so she gets picked. So they're calling her doctor because like she got her PhD and that she's an industrial engineer.
So she's a liar.
So basically lied her way in, and of course they're going to get found out. So
of course
that's what it's about. It's a really cute movie though.
All right.
Because in the end,
where can we see this?
Need her. It's on Prime Video now.
Awesome.
And there are some actual real astronauts in it, in the background characters. So there's some astronaut-y stuff.
This sounds like, is this kind of just like a comedy drama?
It's a comedy drama.
Okay.
Yes. It's just a cute movie. Anyways,
all right,
that's all. Super cute.
All right.
Next. Oh, you have to tell me about this. I did feel like I heard the music playing in the background in your office one day.
Probably at one point, because they do play clips from movies. So I watched the documentary Remembering Gene Wilder, which is fantastic. I was happy because most of the time when we hear stuff about Gene Wilder, it's always about Willy Wonka, or Young Frankenstein, or the Blazing Saddles movies, stuff like that with Mel Brooks. Of course, with this, obviously focus on, we get through his entire career, how Mel Brooks pretty much kind of took him into stuff and kind of made it. I think they said they had one fight in their entire career making movies together. And it was the funny. Have you seen Young Frankenstein?
Yes, I have.
Young Frankenstein is fantastic. But you know, there in the moment there's the song and dance number with putting on the Ritz where him and the monster dance on stage. They fought about that because Mel Brooks says, we're not shooting that scene. That we're not doing this in the movie. And he's like, yes, we are too. They finally shot it. And after a test, Mel Brooks says, you're right, I was wrong. That became the most popular scene in the whole movie.
Just like I saw some other clip or something about how the cane and doing the role.
Yes.
Like that was important to him.
Like, he
wanted it.
Yeah, because he said he would not make the movie Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The opening moment you see Willy Wonka, he comes out and he's using a cane, he's limping, he looks like a cripple, and the cane sticks in the ground and he rolls up and stands up. And he said that's how he wanted to enter, and if they didn't let him do that, he was not doing the movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, why is this such a big deal? He said, because at that moment he wanted to create a moment where you realize you can't believe anything this man says. Yeah. You don't know he's lying when he's not. And if you watch the movie, the entire movie is kind of built on trickery because he's, they've got the guy working in the background because he's trying to see who he can trust and whatever, spoiler. Yeah. And that all leads into, it's the same thing, the famous story about, I'm assuming you've heard this before, but the part of the end of it when Grandpa comes and he's yelling at Wonka about
you cheated. You cheated Charlie.
Well, in the moment when Wonka snaps and he's screaming at him, right? He really legitimately scared the kid because nobody knew he was going to go that off or whatever. And he goes in and then Wilder felt horrible about it, but it pulled out a real response to doing it. And it's like, it's just those little things. But for me, the most entertaining, not entertaining, the most interesting element that I really wanted to hear about because I've never heard a lot about it was he did 2 or 3 movies with Richard Pryor, and they were kind of a duo with Silver Streak, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, and I think there was another one, or maybe it was only 2. But I was always interested because they were so polar opposites in their lifestyles and their comedy. It was like, how did these 2 guys come together? And it goes through the whole thing. And Richard Pryor's daughter is in it, getting to talk about it. Gene Wilder's wife is in it, so she's telling some of the stories. And that was the other thing. It talked about the story of I didn't know that. Like I knew him and Gilda Radner were married, and that she had died of cancer. I thought they were married way longer than they were before she died.
Really?
It was like I don't even think it was a year or 2, but she got cancer and died. And so it was just interesting knowing the choices of some of the movies they made, how he got there. Because I just assumed he made this because he was popular, and you find out that he wasn't even supposed to be in the what was it? The Frisco Kid. They had a whole other actor who had an alcohol problem, and they told him he had an alcohol problem. And Mel Brooks was like asking his agent. He's like, "No, he's fine." And then they get ready to start. Had just barely started filming, and he was in the hospital. And they said, "Oh no, he's a complete drunk still." He was still.
Wow.
And so he called Gene Wilder. And he's like, "Can you come do this part?" And literally, he was on a plane the next day and already filming. It was him and Harrison Ford, and it's a great comedy. If you've never seen it. Anyway, but plus you kind of get a real deep dive into the Mel Brooks world because they did so many movies together. And hearing the stories of how he got the producers and how they did this, but the failures and how it affected him and why he did this movie because of this failure and how this brought him back. It's just a really well done documentary about somebody who's done way more iconic movies than you realize sometimes.
Yeah.
But we know Willy Wonka. That's his biggest thing.
That's all I know.
Then you forget about Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And Young Frankenstein, and then him and the Richard Pryor movies, and then he directed movies as well, The Woman in Red, and there was just a lot of movies that I started remembering that I hadn't thought about in years.
Wow.
That I've seen every one of these movies they talk about.
You have.
And
knowing you,
I hadn't thought about them in forever because some of them are better than others, obviously. But I was like, crap, man, I need to go back and rewatch all these movies. And like I don't think I've ever fully watched. Is it the younger brother of Sherlock Holmes, or I forgot the name of it now, or his second cousin? Anyway, he directed a movie about Sherlock Holmes' younger brother. I think that's what it's called. And he plays younger brother, whatever. Anyway, it's a fantastic documentary. Whether you like Gene Wilder or not, if you're just somebody that likes history on movies and stories about these people. But Gene Wilder was just a great little man too. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother.
Smarter Brother, yeah. Anyway, I believe it was on Netflix? Was it HBO Max? Oh crap! I don't remember.
Hold on, let's see how we watch it.
Yikes! I am sorry.
It's on Netflix.
Prime.
It's streaming on Netflix.
Okay.
If you don't have Netflix, you can rent it on Prime.
If you like Gene Wilder, it's a must watch. If you don't care anything about Gene Wilder, but you like some of the movies he's done, it's a fun watch because you can learn some stuff.
There you go.
If you're just somebody that likes to learn about things and movies, it's
I
think you would enjoy it, even though you're not a huge Gene Wilder fan. I think you would enjoy it just because you'd be
I love documentaries.
You'd be like, oh, that's interesting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like documentaries and learning things.
And you would probably come out on the other side of that thinking, he is such a beautiful man. Not physically necessarily, but like just who he was.
That's nice.
So anyway, remember Gene Wilder is available now.
All right. Is this the biggest movie of the week?
It is one of them, yeah.
All right, guys. This is the new movie Longlegs with Mika.
There's a high chance you've never heard of this movie because it got a big push. Don't get me wrong, but it is one of those kind of left field movies.
Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, and it's probably one of the most brilliantly promoted films I've ever seen.
I'm gonna share the video.
The heartbeat one.
Yes.
And I read an article. I don't know if I told you or not, but how the director had talked to Neon when they promoted this movie, very much say, do not reveal Nicolas Cage's face.
Yes,
he was very adamant about that
glad
aspect of it. So if you watch any of the trailers, you hear his voice, but you may not know it's his voice. You see different things, and if they do, there's only one trailer which I think she's going to share about the heartbeat. It cuts to his face, but they put a black box
Black
over
box, and I love that
so,
because I hate when you give too much away in the trailer,
well, in this movie,
or even the perceived thought that you might.
well,
it throws me
and
off.
it's even more important for this movie because it is. You could tell it's purposely waiting to be revealed in the production of the film.
Yes.
It's not
the
like
way they film it. Like at some point, you see this much of his face.
yeah, it's like I like to use Winter Soldier as a good example because when Winter Soldier came out, all the comic book fans knew who the Winter Soldier was. It wasn't a secret to us. But as someone like her,
I had no
she
idea.
had no idea.
I was in the theater and I was like,
and the biggest problem is they didn't reveal it in the trailer, but they put out the poster.
No.
And it's of the Winter Soldier, and then it says Sebastian Stan. Well, if you know Sebastian Stan played Bucky, then you now know.
I didn't know.
I purposely shielded her from it so she could be revealed.
Don't look over here. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so she could learn the reveal because, like I said, but I get it because they understand that their market of most of the people
know who your people
we already know. It's not a secret to us. This one is very much built on that secret and what this. They also don't tell you a lot of the trailers what this movie is even about.
You just know FBI agent is hunting a serial killer.
You don't even know that from the trailers. It's just what in the hell is going on?
I know she's an FBI agent,
and something's going on,
and they're hunting somebody.
It's hard to figure out really. And even watching the movie, there's a little bit of element of like, what the hell is going on in this movie?
Mm-hmm. But it was good.
Before I tell you my opinion, I will tell you very much. This movie is an acquired taste. It is a movie that you will either love or you probably won't like. I don't think there's a gray area for this one.
Mm.
You might find a few people that like certain things and not other things, but it's very much as a whole.
What do you think about the people who are like, I love everything Nicolas Cage does? This is way out there.
Yeah, I think this is one of his greatest performances, but it's also his most bizarre.
You think this is the best?
I think it's his best from a standpoint of just going all in and doing a character that's not Nicolas Cage, but so very much Nicolas Cage in a way that it wasn't Nicolas Cage acting. He was channeling something insane. Mm-hmm. And his character in this movie is unnerving, a little creepy, a little like makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
While still being very realistic.
The ending really made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. The ending?
The very last.
Oh, when he's.
I was like, oh my God. I'm like, please don't leave me with that last image. Yes. Because that's all I was thinking, what he said. And I was like, oh no. I'm like, oh dear Jesus.
Yeah, so the basic story is this lady is
an FBI
hunting
agent.
A serial killer named Longlegs. And the film is kind of fractured where it brings you some elements. You don't know what really timeline you're in, but it does make total sense. It's not one of those like Challengers that we didn't say that about Challengers. It's all over the place too.
It starts as like 13 years ago. Then it comes back 12 years ago.
It's time fragmented.
It's like 1 month ago.
This movie isn't quite that bad like that, but it does kind of bounce around a little bit, but it's a necessity for the story.
Yes.
It is very slow paced.
Mm-hmm. And it's a talkie.
It is very much so.
There's certain things you got to pay attention to what has being said.
Because they're telling you stuff.
Yeah, it comes back. You've got to pay attention. It's really interesting.
So, before we go into in-depth detail of some of the things, because we can only tell you so much.
Yeah.
Because this is a movie that should not be spoiled.
Correct.
But what did you think of the movie as a whole?
I really liked this movie. I was scared going into it because anytime you have like a weird, creepy killer movie, and you purposely don't show the face, and I just get a black box, it freaks me out even more.
And I thought this was more of a horror film.
Yeah.
And it builds kind of into horror.
It's more like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Because it's about her.
Yeah, mentality. She is majority of the star. Nicolas Cage is not in this movie that much.
It's her.
But when he's in this movie, he is in this movie.
Yeah, but it's really about her mentality. And it's interesting because I feel like just with her, like she's able to perceive things. So it's like, is she psychic?
Yeah, and
that's weird.
And she also plays it almost like she's on the spectrum.
Yeah, she's very awkward, and the relationship with
I'm glad you caught that too, because I wrote a lot of that in the reviews. Like she was very uncomfortable and awkward herself.
Yes,
but not in a creepy way.
No, but I feel like.
Did you feel uncomfortable looking at her?
I felt that. Yeah,
not like gross, but like
very uncomfortable when she gets home to her home environment. I was like on edge the whole time because I'm like, what is happening in this
See, I felt there's a lot of.
And then the relationship with her mom was so awkward
Yeah,
to me.
even the phone call.
Yeah, I was
like,
just
well,
like,
that's why I said she felt like very much like somebody that might be autistic.
yeah, like she can't communicate.
Yeah, she doesn't have
completely.
social skills as much.
Yeah.
She clearly had an ability to solve things and
she's
see things that
good
other
at-
people didn't see.
Yeah, she can see.
And as you
between the
said,
lines.
At one point it seemed, was it a psychic thing or is it she just?
And we never.
Yeah, there's
know,
never a
which I
resolution
kind of
to that.
like.
But you also understand because of where the story goes.
Yeah, it all kind of brings it back together.
There's a familiar. There's a familiar tone to the film on some of the way the kills and stuff are done, but that worked for me. It was almost like unintentional homage to some other stuff. But there's some great kills in the movie, but they're bloody, but enough where they still keep some stuff to the imagination, while still reminding you how gory it is. You know, like hitting somebody with an axe, but instead of seeing an axe hit the head, you see the blood splatter through the room. Because they may fall past the door frame, but the blood still flies across.
Yeah.
And so they're reminding you like, hey, this is not, we're not playing around here.
Yeah.
You know, but it didn't look cheesy either.
Correct. I saw someone else's review. It's like it's even better the second time because now you know, but now you're seeing that stuff in the background that you might have missed. Because that's what I'm telling you, you gotta pay attention to this one.
Well, I found myself, I don't know if you did it or not, but when you get into the element, there's a moment where you're in Longlegs' lair, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself like looking at all of his posters and looking at his stuff, trying to figure out, is there clues here?
Mm-hmm.
But that I can't take my eyes off him.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. And it's kind of scary. And it's not really scary except for one or two moments.
It's unnerving.
It's creepy. Yeah, it is. It's very unnerving. It's unsettling in a way. Yeah. Because she's not, because we don't know about her. There's something about her that we don't know.
She already makes you kind of uncomfortable and awkward.
So like, she makes me
That's
suspicious.
What I was saying, but like I was watching her, I was just like I felt uncomfortable watching her, like I shouldn't be seeing whatever she's dealing with.
Yeah.
And like I'm staring at somebody, like it's like you're staring at somebody with a handicap.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't be staring at because it's
But
rude.
also too the idea that, oh yeah, you must be psychic, but nobody brings it up. No one asks her any questions. And the awkward thing was the captain or the aide saying, "Have you talked to your mother?" Like, why are you asking me if I called my mother? There was so many awkward moments that I just don't get. I need to watch it again.
Well, in that case, remember, he knew that because he realized why.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just
were you surprised? Because I know you like you some Blair Underwood. Were you
love...
surprised when you saw Blair Underwood? Did you even notice him in the credits? Or did you not notice till he showed up?
I didn't notice till he showed up.
Okay, because when his name, I kept waiting for you to say something when his
name.
No,
I saw it and I was like, ooh, I did. Actually, I think I did. Okay. When you had your headphones on. I was like, oh, Blair Underwood. Haven't seen you in a while.
I was waiting because I know you like Blair Underwood.
Love Blair Underwood.
When his name came up, I knew he was in the movie. Yes. When his name came up, I was waiting for you to be all like.
I was like, Blair Underwood, where have you been? I love him.
It's a small cast, but it with a Blair Underwood, Alicia Witt.
I love her, by the way. She's awkward and weird too.
What was she in? I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. Scroll down. What was the thing that kind of she's most known for?
Last Holiday.
Not most known for, but probably seen.
Stargirl.
Oh, I think I saw. Okay, Stargirl. I knew her.
Orange is the New Black.
Well, who's she in that? I don't think that's it.
6 episodes.
I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. I just don't know offhand. Anyway, she is good. And I didn't realize that was her at first. I was looking at her. I'm like, I know that girl.
Yeah, she's
and she's playing way older than she actually is, I think, in the movie. The prosthetics and stuff in the movie are really well done.
Yes.
I will tell you this, and I'm curious if you have the same thought, because we're not going to tell you what it looks like. The reveal of Nicolas Cage's face is not the face I thought we were going to get.
Me either.
But I was kind of glad because I had my expectations set a certain way, because I'm like, if you're hiding it, are you hiding it because you need to reveal it? Or are you hiding it because we're not allowed to see that on a trailer? You know, is it something hideous or scary or gross or bloody or whatever, deformed, or is it just something that's just...
I still don't understand some of it.
His look?
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to. I think that's the point.
And at one point I told you he looked kind of vampiric.
I thought he had some hints of Rocky Dennis to it.
I just thought it looked mean and vampire-y. But, I mean, I guess that's
it's very interesting. Now, I will say, I think where it will lose a lot of people, I actually enjoyed it because it still made it ambiguous the way they ended it, is it does take majority of the film was very realistic. It's in the realm of like this could really happen. This serial killer could exist. It could be somebody who looks deformed, killing people. That all that could happen. But it does take an element of supernatural twist, but it doesn't at the same time. So it's
a little bit, because if you believe there's millions of people in that group.
Yeah, but it leaves a lot to be questioned on how is this actually happening? Is what we think happening actually happening, or is it something more grounded? Is this other person involved, or is this person involved? And there's again an ambiguous element to the story, but you don't feel like you didn't get the answers.
Right.
There are some answers unanswered, but I don't think.
I'm trying to look how many.
I don't think there's anywhere to answer them, kind of thing.
Yeah, you just have to roll with it, I guess.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking to see how many people are in that group. I don't want to mention what it is.
Oh.
Because they're going to believe like this is true. But yeah, the element of how that thing happened, I guess it depends on what you believe, if that's even possible. I believe it is.
Yeah,
that's what was freaking me out.
It deals with some mass murders and stuff like that. And
it did freak me out.
I love this movie as well. This will probably be on one of my top movies.
It was really good.
But again, and it's done really well. It is the highest grossing movie Neon has ever put out now.
Yeah.
I think it made
a lot of their stuff is kind of artsy and on the edge.
Well, and they've kind of put a niche into a weird artsy horror.
I love it. All their stuff last year was pretty good.
But they, from the article I read, said they cost $10 million to make the movie. It's already made $20 million the first weekend it's out.
That's a hit.
So it's already done its numbers. I love Nicolas Cage in this role. He is unhinged.
I appreciate that he goes all in everything he does.
Well, I love that ever since he finally paid off the tax bill.
We're getting good stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying is he was making movies left and right. And he was acting to act, and he was acting to pay off a bill.
Yeah.
Ever since that's been up, he's made stuff like Mandy and Pig.
Pig is what I would say. I think
Pig is a fantastic overall performance.
I
guess carrying a film. This would be, I think, I don't think this is a performance that could have sustained as a leading person the entire time. It would have wore on you fast. Yeah. But for the small, because he can't be in the movie more than 30 minutes?
30, 40 minutes, maybe, but it's
sprinkled throughout. Yeah.
It is so impactful.
He's not, and I'm not saying he's a background, it's not a cameo background character. He's the major plot point.
Character, but
it's just, and when he does, everything he does doesn't make any sense, which is why it makes it more unnerving.
But then it does at the very end.
Yeah. I love that last scene that you had.
Oh, it freaked me out. I was like, no, thank you. I had to start praying to Jesus to clean me.
And so, and the link she shared, we didn't talk about it earlier. So they had her mic'd doing the scene the very first time she walks in and sees Nicolas Cage, which ironically was Nicolas Cage's final day of filming.
Oh, really?
Because she's not in most of the scenes with him.
Correct.
So he'd already shot all of his stuff. This was his last day, and they mic'd her, which it picked up her heartbeat, and so they ended up turning around and using that. You hear the heartbeat at one point in the movie, but not this whole scene. Not set up. Yeah. I wondedered if it was going to be in the movie.
I was wondering if it was going to be like.
But they ended up releasing this as a clip. Trailer-like thing.
They made a trailer, which was awesome.
And talking about where like her resting heart rate was like 70 something, and it jumped to like 170 when she walked in the room with him.
In that scene that scene is intense.
Yeah,
as our child would say, it was intense.
And that's the only trailer they released that had Nicolas Cage in it. Mm-hmm. But it cuts to him. It's got the big black box on his face. You don't see.
I actually appreciate it.
Yeah. So. I love this movie, but it is an acquired movie.
Yeah.
Acquired taste kind of thing, but. If you want to see something different in a world of sequels and remakes and you're complaining, here's a movie that is not any of those things.
There you go.
So Longlegs is in theaters now.
All right, baby.
And it is very loud.
Tell me what's going on.
The music and Nicolas Cage screaming can get to, especially when you're in their headset.
And at one point he's like,
oh my God, it was so loud in my headset. I was trying to turn it down. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I'm glad
the lady next to me was covering her ears.
Oh, I'm glad I had the caption so I could actually, so I can understand what he was saying. So... If you need a hearing device, always ask for one and/or subtitles.
Yeah, they don't question why you need it.
And some showings just have subtitles on screen, which I like.
Yeah, they've started doing those. That. You can also get some with the Mexican.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Spanish subtitles.
Except this one doesn't want to go to the Mexican screenings with the Spanish subtitles. Rude.
I just thought that I don't want to go to it. That doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit you
Let's
either.
go with the Mexicans.
You speak English. It doesn't benefit you either. Okay, this week on Blu-rays and DVDs and whatnot, it's a lot of re-release stuff. We're getting Phantoms is getting a 4K release. SpongeBob SquarePants movie is getting a 4K release. Rocky Balboa and Rocky 5 are getting a 4K individual release. Rocky Balboa is getting a theatrical and director's cut release. Captain Phillips is getting a 4K release. They are also finally putting out the Rocky Ultimate Knockout Collection, which is they reached I think last year they put out a Rocky collection, but it was just Rocky 1 through 4 with both versions of Rocky 4 on 4K, but it left out 5 and Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
This new collection has all of the movies.
With which Rocky
and both
4?
versions, and I'm assuming it also probably has a theatrical and director's cut of Rocky Balboa. So it is the bigger collection of all of them.
I watch the new Rocky 4 all the time. I watched it probably like 2 weeks ago.
I know you do. But it's the collection. It should have been released before, but I'm sure there was probably some sort of a license issue or something the way they were trying to put them out. But so it's a great collection that it looks good to come out. And I think that's it.
All right then. Well, there is a lot coming out on the line. So if you haven't made it to the theater, here's your opportunity to get caught up on some great film. On Monday, July 15th, that's tomorrow, Horizon, an American Saga, that new movie put out by, what's his name? It just escaped me.
Kevin
Costner. It's coming online to Video Demand and Digital. So if you were not able to go to the theater, you can watch it at home. Also coming out to Video Demand and Digital, Lassie, a New Adventure.
Oh God.
So if
you're
not
dead yet?
Not yet. Coming out on Tuesday, July 16th, on the line. You can watch The Strangers Chapter 1 if you missed that in theaters. Also coming out is a movie called Tuesday. It's a mother-daughter fairy tale. The Dead Don't Hurt, Star-Crossed Lovers, and the U.S. Frontier. This is the one with Viggo Mortensen. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
The Dead Don't Hurt?
Yeah, didn't you watch it?
I did not. The link expired. But now I'll get to watch it on the line.
No, you have to pay for it.
Oh, shoot. Okay, Dance Rivals.
God.
If you care about dancers. And also on the line, a documentary called The House Next Door. It's about the foreclosure crisis in the state of Ohio. Ohio. Coming out on Thursday, the movie of the week on Peacock. Actually, it's a new series called Those About to Die. It's set in the world of the gladiator competitions. It says Sir Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. So that looks really interesting. It's a new TV series if you're interested on Peacock. Coming to Prime Video, My Spy, The Eternal City. It's a sequel to the 2020 movie My Spy that had Dave Bautista and that cute little girl. What's her name? Chloe Coleman. She's grown up now, and this is part 2, and I am excited. We gotta watch the first one. Yeah, I thought they were cute.
It was fine.
They're not groundbreaking, award-winning films, but they were fun. Coming to Apple TV Plus, a new series, Lady in the Lake. And this is actually based on the disappearance of a young girl in Baltimore during Thanksgiving in 1966. Coming out on Friday to theaters, this is the big one, I think. It's the big one. Twisters, the sequel to Twister. So hopefully you have seen Twister, the original movie with Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton.
Which comes out, I believe, this week on 4K as well.
So now you can watch that,
I was looking at it
and then go watch Twisters. So
if it's not already. Also, I didn't say there's a movie called The Last Stop at Yuma County that's coming out this week on Blu-ray, which we'll be talking about next week.
Okay. Coming out to Video Demand and Digital on Friday, a movie called Clear Cut. It's a man cutting timber in the Pacific Northwest, but he becomes the target of a brutal assault. And then you know what? He's going to go back and get some revenge. Let's see. Coming out.
Oh, is that coming to digital? Thelma?
Thelma is coming out on digital. If you missed it in the theater, it's coming on the line on Friday. This is the one with June Squibb, one of Bobby's favorite actors. 93-year-old Thelma gets duped by one of those scammers pretending to be the grandson that was probably caught in jail, and she had to send money, because that happened to your mom, where she thought that our child was actually in jail and was trying to send them money, and we stopped her. Oh, Lord. Coming to Netflix, Skywalkers, a love story. This is about a couple that journeys across the globe climbing super skyscrapers. It's a documentary. Also coming to Netflix, a romantic comedy, Find Me Falling. This one stars Harry Connick Jr. as an aging rock star who decides he's going to take a break from all the fame and the hype and just go off to the Mediterranean and live a little quiet life for a while. And of course, he runs into an old flame.
Fun fact, by the way, Harry Connick Jr. apparently was really good friends with Gene Wilder. He's all over that documentary.
Wow. I love me some Harry Connick Jr. Okay. Coming to video demand and digital. It's a movie called Before Dawn. Looks like it's a World War I movie set in Australia, though, to see what's going on there during that time period. And let's see. I think that's it for this week.
All right. We got a plethora of things to give away. Most of it stuff, or not most, but a lot of it stuff we already have. We have a few new ones. We do have copies of the movie Challengers that we talked about today, so if you don't want to have to pay to watch it. Then we got the sequel to Alienoid Return to the Future. Get copies of that. We have one single copy. Oh, you picked the wrong image. You did not look at the thing, sister.
It was a blue. Oh, you know why? It's a blue picture.
She has Manifest on here, but
that out.
We have copies of True Detective Night Country to give away. Someone who doesn't do their job. The Last Stop at Yuma County, the movie I just told you about. We'll be talking about that next week. Let's move on from this.
I'm Xing it out.
Let's just move
there
on.
There you go.
This.
I X'd it out.
Let's move on from this sad production value.
I just saw a blue image.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
That's racist.
Against blue.
I just saw a brown girl.
Right here.
And I thought it was my wife, and it wasn't. Anyway, we got copies of the original Twister on 4K, so you can check it out before the new one comes out this weekend. And lastly, the movie Sting, which we'll be talking about in the coming weeks.
All right. Well, that's it for us, folks. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week sometime.
I don't know. We'll see if we do or not.